Hi, my name is Diane Moskowitz. I'm one of Jerry's Portland friends. I'm very sorry that I can't be there in person with you all today. I met Jerry about 35 years ago, which was just a few months after I met my husband, Rick, in Portland. Rick had been friends with Jerry and Kathy back when he lived in Longview, and Rick considered Jerry a good enough friend that he wanted Jerry's impression of me before he got any further invested in our relationship. And I have to say, I've always felt very grateful and relieved that I somehow passed the test and managed to get not only Jerry and Kathy's blessings, but also their very rich friendships. Jerry was one of the funniest people I've ever known, but in a very low-key way. He had a quick, dry wit and came up with some incredible surprises. One that I remember was at a big birthday party for him. He opened a present from his mom, Flo, and it was underwear. I made some comment about how she still had her sense of humor, and Jerry immediately said, "This wasn't a joke. She always gives me underwear," in his very deadpan manner, and the group howled with laughter. One of the highlights of my 50th birthday party was when Jerry got up to the karaoke stage and sang a few Frank Sinatra tunes. He had the mannerisms and the voice inflections down perfectly. He was either a natural or he had spent many hours in front of the mirror practicing. My hunch was that this came pretty easily to him. Another good memory is of the many Passover Seders we shared with Jerry and Kathy. I had very few Jewish friends here in Portland, so soon after we met, while our kids were still living at home, we started alternating years making the Seder at our respective homes. We got to know each other's kids and some of our parents, and this way as well. Of course, Kathy was a big part of this, but it was Jerry with whom I was able to share and compare and laugh over some of our similar and also very different family traditions for the Passover dinner. Jerry filled a lot of roles in a lot of people's lives. I much miss his friendship. Thank you.